grew up in the 80s. You know, I graduated in 1985. I was into Iron Maiden and Metallica, and I was into heavy metal culture, and I saw
Not Dawkins so much.
well, no, I was way into Dawkins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was super into Dawkins.
Okay.
Judas Priest.
Sure.
You know, we don't have that much time. You know.
No, I know. You'd be surprised how much.
So yeah, I saw Nightmare 1 in the theater. I saw Texas Chainsaw at the drive-in.
Right.
I saw the first Friday the 13th. So I was into, you know, metal and horror culture and all that. And, you know, if you look at my Instagram, Rodney Eastman, just that simple.
At Rodney Eastman.
Right. I have a picture posted on there from when I was 16 years old, and my hair is probably about as long as yours.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So-
Look at that smile. Look at that smile.
So-
Loves that long hair.
So to get that audition, you know, and then to get the part was incredible, you know, and also I feel really blessed and really lucky that RNP, RIP, the creator of Nightmare on Elm Street,
Wes Craven.
right? That he made Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one, kind of stepped away, kind of, you know, sold the project to a new line, and really wanted to save the franchise.
Right.
And came back to be really hands-on involved with part 3.
He really was.
Oh, yeah, he was on set every single day.
Okay, I didn't know this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And
Because I know he wrote a script, and Chuck Russell, the director, and Frank Darabont, the Academy Award winner, rewrote it. His was like time travel or something, and it was.
But yes, there were big differences.
Yeah.
But the original idea of Dream Warriors
Right.
and kids that were disadvantaged,
Right.
bullied,
Right.
mentally ill,
It was way ahead of its time in that.
right? That they would, and also I feel like that's why Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is such a fan favorite.
It's the best. It's the best
and
one.
So lasting, because every one of the kids in that movie, everybody who watches that movie, even if you're not a horror fan, there's somebody in that movie that you can relate to.
Right.
Definitely.
And so just to be a fan of horror and to be on that set and to have a real piece in that movie, you know, have a real part of it, was super exciting.
But I mean, the cast is amazing. You got Patricia Arquette, who won an Academy Award, and apparently you had a mad crush on her, according to the documentary. Now, you want to clear this one up?
I make it clearer.
Yes.
I was completely in love with her. It was.
You went to Robert Englund, who plays Freddy himself, and said, "How do I get this girl?"
I don't remember that.
Okay.
But if it's online, it must be true.
It's in the documentary Never Sleep Alone.
Never Sleep Again.
I'll never sleep again. I'm sorry.
But Mark, I think you're projecting.
Oh, I'm in love with Patricia Arquette. I'm in love with Patricia Arquette, and if she's listening,
the never sleep alone part.
yes, I always sleep alone. But Patricia Arquette, if you're listening, but you know who else? I mean, Jennifer Rubin. I met her last year. She's still beautiful. Oh,
incredible! And also, you know, she was such a Midwest, all American girl. Heather Langenkamp.
beautiful too.
In that movie, you know, you look back in those movies, God, she's so gorgeous. But what I wanted to say was, you were asking me about...
Patricia Arquette.
No.
Yeah.
Well, yes. Patricia Arquette, yes. You know, very simply, I did have a crush on her. How could you not?
Exactly.
Patricia Arquette. So beautiful. And so sweet and talented and kind.
And this is her first movie.
And her first movie, and my first movie, my first
Right.
real movie. It was incredible. But what you were asking me earlier about Tiger Beat, 16 magazine,
Right.
and how weren't you so excited? And I told you there was no TMZ culture, there was no internet, nothing like that. So I got to tell you, Nightmare on Elm Street 3 was a top 10 grosser.
Yeah.
In the year it was released. Nightmare on Elm Street 4,
Even bigger.
even bigger. Nightmare on Elm Street 4 was the highest grossing independent film of all time when it came out.
Right.
They got knocked off by Sex, Lies, and Videotape.
Right.
But there was pockets of celebrity culture.
But I mean, you
But
can't.
not like celebrity culture like that. I didn't even know that I was in a top 10 grossing movie. Now, if an actor,
Right.
if a 19-year-old actor
Mm-hmm.
is a lead in a movie
Right.
that's a top 10 grosser of the year,
Like the Spider-Man guy.
right, he's got a publicist, he's got package deals,
Right.
It was a different time,
Right.
you know.
No, I'm saying you're going down. You're going to clubs. You're going.
No, I was
He's
not.
talking about action, buddy.
Action, buddy.
He's talking about action.
I'm saying you don't walk down the street and then the hot, beautiful women go, "Oh my God, it's Joey from Nightmare on Elm Street."
No, when I made Nightmare on Elm Street 3, I was still living in East LA. I had an amazing girlfriend
Oh, okay. Well, there you
named
go.
Adriana Juana Aguilar.
Okay, good for her.
Did you get like the fan mail that we'd like write into?
Yeah, let's see.
Did that
Here's
actually go to you, or did that go to somebody else?
No, I would get fan mail.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was lazy. I
We
never,
had
I
that
never
little
answered.
book, and we'd write little, messages.
you wrote Rodney.
No, I didn't. No.
Okay.
But I have to say, I know I'm always a long talker. Sorry.
No, it's the thoughtful answers.
that when it was happening, like at that time, horror movies were like the redheaded stepchild of the film industry.
Right.
They really were like one step above pornos,
Sure.
you know, in some way, you know, just like much like now you'll see Sam Jackson
Mm-hmm.
doing a credit card commercial. Back then, like there was a clear delineation.
Right.
You know, Academy Award nominated actors. Horror was way down on the line.
Right.
And nobody knew at that time. Everybody knew, oh, these movies are successful. People like them.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, how can you say this is an iconic franchise?
Yeah.
It was becoming that, but it wasn't as reinforced by culture as it is now.
Okay. So when you got the script and you had like no lines, what did you think?
Well, that's going to be really easy to memorize, is what I thought.
And then you got the script for 4 and you had like 5 lines.
And then I was like, you bastards.
You wanted to be
The first one,
and they replaced Patricia Arquette with somebody else.
I don't even. My lawyers advised me not to even discuss that. So
Yeah, no offense to the probably the best name I've ever heard in my life for an actor, Tuesday Night, but she's not.
Yeah.
I
Oh, yeah.
remember her working 3 years ago.
Oh, okay, yeah, she replaced Patricia Arquette in Nightmare on Elm Street
I
4.
didn't realize. We'll
Yeah.
have to watch it.
I'm currently representing someone called Wednesday Morning.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that's a good name too. But you know,
Her
so,
daughter.
But if I may finish,
oh please,
that now, what there was several years, maybe even decades, where I was embarrassed that Nightmare on Elm Street was the thing that I was the most known for.
really,
I've got almost 100 credits on my IMDb.
right?
I've worked a bunch, and as time has gone by,
You're on Melrose Place.
That was
Yeah.
a great show.
thank you. I got slapped by Heather Locklear
Well, who hasn't?
before she slapped her boyfriend.
Right.
But what I eventually came to realize, I started doing conventions,
Right.
and I saw the love for this movie.
Right.
I saw how people were coming. Literally, people have come up to talk to me at conventions.
Right.
Grandmother, daughter,
Right.
grandson.
There you go.
It's generational.
Right.
And now I feel so proud of being in those movies.
I mean,
And so lucky
right.
because they've become so iconic.
Right.
You know, everyone, you could go all over the world. You could go to Indonesia and you go, and people go,
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Like people know
How's
it.
that for a wet dream? Everybody knows it. Everybody knows
Well,
it.
it's funny because when we were little, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have smartphones. So we had our imaginations.
Right.
And after seeing you with the waterbed scene,
Yeah.
my friend's parents had a waterbed. And so we were the waterbed inspectors to make sure no one was in there.
There's
And,
no-
we
there's no-
demanded to
there's
go
no-
look and-
No naked women in the waterbed. But by the way, John, since you haven't seen these movies, I don't want to spoil it. But Rodney's weakness that Freddy Krueger, his weakness is horniness, and Freddy Krueger exploits that.
And not much has changed.
In Nightmare 3, a nurse strips, and so this is what I want to get to. Strips, they start kissing. It turns out he's kissing Freddy. Mm-hmm. Freddy takes his tongue, puts it on 4 tongues, straps him to a bed. Now you're strapped to a bed, but they filmed it with you vertically.
That's right.
Why?
Roy Wagner. Because the Roy Wagner, the director of photography, had a whole vision for it. Again, that also no CGI back then.
Right.
And just the
So what were the tongues made out of?
Latex.
Oh, okay.
Right. So there was a whole, just the way the sequence was planned out, they wanted to pull back from the bed as though they were moving vertically.
Right.
But they didn't have the technology, even the camera rigs, to do it back then. So they built a room completely flipped at a 90-degree angle on its side, so they could set up a crane and just pull straight back, and then when you saw it on screen, it looked like they were lifting up from me.
And you passed out because it's the crucifix position.
It was. I was, those tongues were made of latex, but they had metal brackets on them that were digging into my wrist, and I was probably suspended about 25 feet in the air.
Right.
And movie sets are notoriously overheated.
Sure.
So it was probably about 90 degrees on set, and that's when they.
So when you wake up, what do you think? You're like, enough of that.
I fainted once,
right?
And they pulled me down, and then realized.
Or did they have Laurence Fishburne and Robert Englund?
That's when you were. I gotta say, when probably the most amazing moment for me on the set of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Was when I walked onto set and I saw Cool from Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
Laurence Fishburne. I was a young movie fan, and I was such a fan of that movie.
Yeah.
And
that's the guy who would have asked how to get Patricia Arquette, not Robert Englund.
And I really don't think that, you're the researcher.
Yes.
I haven't checked, but I don't think he had even done a movie since Apocalypse Now. And,
well, when I have Laurence Fishburne in here, I'll scour his IMDb page.
But yeah, I was just so amazed, and he was incredible.
But you could tell, like, this dude knows what he's doing.
Well, yeah, I knew he knew what he was doing. I'd watched Apocalypse Now at least 10 times by that time.
Right.
Came out in 79.
So how did you meet John? And I'm sorry that we keep we're talking to Rodney. I'm ignoring Academy Award nominee John Hawkes here. No, how did you guys meet?
Rodney and I met playing half brothers on a movie called Sand.
That's not how we met.
How did you meet Rodney?
No, we met. You're right, Rodney. We met earlier than that, I guess. We met, but go ahead. Yeah.
We first met on a TV show. Dangerous Minds.
We didn't have scenes together, but we met at the read-through.
So was this a spin-off of the Michelle Pfeiffer movie?
It was.
Okay.
It was.
Okay, I remember
TV series for a couple of years it was on, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't think we met at the table read. I think we met just. Oh, okay. Yeah. I was out of it back then. Yeah. So. True story.
Yeah.
And then we crossed paths on set.
Did we?
I believe so.
Just said hello, maybe?
Yeah. No, we had no scenes together.
Right.
But we were on the same TV show. That's where we first met. And then...
We started auditioning for that movie, Sand, out in Malibu.
That's right.
And that's when I...
At Sean Penn's office.
Talking to you. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting on the parking lot and just being amazed at how old you said you were. So I thought you were probably younger. Mm-hmm. And we chatted a while and smoked a couple cigs, and Hope said, we auditioned with a bunch of other people and in all kinds of different groups. And I remember just thinking, I hope, we said, hope you get it, and we both got it. And then we were joined at the hip for that movie, and then did like a couple things like randomly again partnered up, just like we did Nash Bridges television show.
Yeah.
Within a year later, and so I feel like something else.
With,
So
with,
we just
within,
kept working.
within 18 months, we were on those 3 jobs.
That's right. Within a
Together.
year and a half, which is crazy. And then you like music? I like music. You know, I like music.
That's
I
the thing,
make
yeah.
music. I make music, and so Rodney played me a demo of a song of his that was really great, and he played all the instruments on it. He played it in the makeup trailer. I thought it was really good, and wanted to collaborate with him. And so we got together and started playing music. We played a house party together. That was a gig of mine that he joined me on, and then I guess in 2003 we started to really record and make a band. Yeah.
And why is the Rodney and John band, not the John and Rodney band?
It just sounds better.
Yeah.
For one.
Well, it sounds better, Rodney. Sure.
Da, da, da. Just rhythmically.
Oh, okay. Oh, got it.
Da, instead of da 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 da. Not as interesting to me.
And yeah, we had a band called King Straggler.
King Straggler. I was just going to
and,
check.
and that band ended, and we didn't play music probably for 5 years together.
Wow.
And
And that band we've been in was intense. You know, we played Sundance, we played South by Southwest, we toured a couple times. We had labels.
2 U.S. tours,
sniffing us up during that, and it was an intense experience. And then we didn't play for a while.
yeah, and
Because you're busy working actors.
Yeah. Partly that.
Yeah.
Just life. Yeah.
because I mean, John and I have been we did the
Yeah, you want to come over and write some songs? No, I'm going to the Oscars. I'll be.
it's not so much that it's
Kidding, I'm kidding.
It's like any friendship. I mean, we joke on stage.
Yeah.
You know, we do introductions and
Well, that's what I was going to say. When I saw you guys, Frank Zappa famously said, "Does humor belong in music?" And it definitely does with your music. It's a lot of you haven't heard him sing, and you will shortly. It's almost been an hour. I can't even believe it. But the conversation. But a terrific band, and we're gonna hear one or maybe 2 songs, whatever you guys want to do. 3, 4, 5, whatever you want to do. Two songs. But I really enjoyed. Because, and here's the thing. Now you both kind of came up, in from what I understand, what I've read, kind of in the punk era, inspired by punk, but your music is more a country folk sort of thing, right?
Maybe. I mean, King Straggler used to be more in the country folk, but we'll still pull that out. It's just music, really, I think. And Rodney, I feel like, if I'm not incorrect, was more metal when you were a kid growing up.
Right,
When you were
you-
a young teenager and stuff like that. And
classic rock. And,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. And
That
I
you-
liked classic rock, and then kind
Right.
of discovered punk rock in 1979 when I was living
Right.
in Austin, Texas, and started playing in bands in 1982, and so was early on into it. But I think it's less about punk was never about a mohawk or a distorted guitar or being loud. It was always to me more of people who had no money, which
Right.
none of us did, who really cared deeply about what they were doing, and with the resources they had, they were going to do their best and not fuck people over, and not
Right.
and be just decent to those around them. And doesn't sound like punk, but that's what it was to me.
Sure.
So any kind of music, it didn't have to be a certain kind of music. It felt punk rock to me, from Philip Glass to the Wretches to
Sure.
whoever felt like punk rock, because they were doing things that were so different from what you'd hear on popular radio.
Right.
So, I loved, as Rodney has, we've exposed each other to a lot of good music over the years. I've just always had music in my brain and wanted to play music, even though I was too shy to. And I think Rodney's the same.
Yeah, and you were paying attention because 40 minutes ago he was saying all the bands they liked, and they were